All right. So I've had quite a few people RSVP. A couple did send an email just asking for the link again. So hopefully they'll be able to jump on here soon. But I'm going to go ahead and get started with just some basic info, and then I'll introduce you to some folks at S Power who are going to just have a quick discussion with you regarding some power opportunities here in Adelanto. Another thing, while I go over a few just basics, I have a poll that I'm going to launch. So if you have time and if you've joined us by computer, please take a second to just answer the two questions. It's just the first one is, what is your role in the cannabis industry? The second one is, if you're operating or in planning phases, at what capacity are you able to do so due to electricity? So we're just trying to gauge whether or not, you know, who's operating at 50% capacity, who's able to operate at 100% capacity based on the electricity that you have available to you. So I'm going to launch that poll now. Feel free to take that anytime during our presentation today, and then I'll share the results with everyone at the end. So again, thank you. My name is Jamie. I am with the Cannabis Compliance Department in the city of Adelanto. I've been with the city now a little over a year, so I've gotten to know quite a bit of you. And if I haven't, I hope to meet you in the near future here. A couple of housekeeping items. Please keep your computer on mute. I think I've automatically muted everyone, but if you need to speak, I think you can put it in the comment section. And then our presenters later, I'll unmute you so that you can share. If you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A box or the comment section. We'll address all the questions at the end of the meeting. And lastly, the purpose of the meeting is not to promote a specific business, but it's rather just to gauge interest in up and coming projects and present potential solutions for the lack of power that has been a hot topic here in Adelanto for many years. Just a few introductions. I was hoping that our city manager was able to join us today. It looks like he got pulled away. I don't see him on our attendance list. So if he does join, we'll do a quick break to allow him to make a few comments. Again, myself, I'm Jamie Lewis, and I'm with the City of Adelanto's Cannabis Compliance. Kathy Bishop has also joined us. She also works alongside me in the Cannabis Compliance Department, and you're probably familiar with her as well. If you don't see my name, you see Kathy's name. So we're kind of a one-stop shop here at the city. And lastly, Ms. Tanya Martinez, who's with S Power. She also has a few of her colleagues here. And so we'll unmute them shortly just to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves and share some information with you. And kind of an off-topic note, but definitely relevant, I wanted to just take a quick moment, since I have many of our operators here, and just kind of go over a couple of cannabis compliance reminders. Since you haven't been able to come to the city and have our regular meetings, we've kind of been trying to communicate via email, and I'd just like to highlight a couple of items of compliance. So again, please be sure to send your tax returns in on time. It's a huge priority for the city, and unfortunately we're not waiving late fees. So please get them in on time. They're due on the 15th of the month following the month of activity. Permits are to be renewed annually. So if you need information on when your permit was initiated, please give us a call, email us, and we can let you know when it's time for renewal. Similarly, the business licenses are due to be renewed annually. HDL should send you an email when it's time to renew, but if not, again, reach out to us so that we can help you maintain compliance. You should be non-operable until you receive your certificate of occupancy. This is a huge issue. We don't want the state to withdraw your license because you're operating without a local certificate of occupancy. So make sure you have that from city officials before you're operating. The city must have your remote video surveillance login. It is part of the ordinance. We hadn't been enforcing it for a number of months due to lack of staff, but it's definitely a priority. It's a strategic initiative of our council, and so we will be verifying that everyone has that on file at the city. Lastly, proper maintenance of operational landscaping. Just beware of overgrowth and proper trash disposal. Our council members have been on the streets in the green zone, and they're taking note of some of the overgrowth, and they really want to present our city well, because there's a whole lot of potential new business coming in. So please just take care of your property. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Kathy, or anyone that you're familiar with in the planning department, and we'll be happy to assist you. Now back to the reason we're all here. It's to discuss power, right? So we recently conducted a couple of surveys, and the results were staggering. We identified that 50% of all the operators within the city of Adelanto are operating at 75% capacity or less due to the lack of electricity. I'd say probably 80% of that 75% category were under 50%, if that makes sense. That's a lot of percentages. But basically, the majority of our active operators are operating under 50% capacity, and they've cited that it's due to lack of electricity. Many of you are using generators, and have figured out other sources, or you're just settling for operating under what you're able to do so because of electricity. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Tanya Martinez with S Power. If you give me a second, Tanya, I'm gonna unmute you and let you take it away. Let's see, where are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Good? Sweet. I'm Tanya Martinez with S Power. I'm going to introduce our company and the team and then get into the project details. So S Power is an independent power producer. We develop, engineer, construct, own, and operate all of our power plants throughout the U.S. We have currently operating approximately 2 gigawatts of solar plus wind storage wind facilities, and we're currently developing a lot of storage. We are developing a 200 megawatt solar plus storage project in the city of Adelanto, and I am the lead developer on the project. And with me, I have Gunter Knack, who is the lead engineer for the project. Gunter, you want to raise your hand so everyone sees you? So there's Gunter. I have with me Mike Ashley, who's leading the marketing for this project in Adelanto. Mike, you want to say hello? Also with me is Kat Adelman. She's an intern on the project, based in California. And also with us is Mark Bazigian. He'll be joining shortly. He is the former city manager of the city of Lancaster. We've built out a lot of solar in the city of Lancaster, and Mark Bazigian is now a consultant and is working with us on various projects, but he's also working with the city of Lancaster, supporting or heavily involved in the microgrid they want to build out to support their growing cannabis industry. So he's supporting us as well in this Adelanto project. So I'll go ahead and kick this party off. So thank you, Jamie, for coordinating this meeting, gathering all the troops here, and for facilitating a questionnaire for us already on this initiative. So the purpose of the meeting, like Jamie stated, is for one, to introduce our project, and two, really understand where your interests lie and how we can potentially work together to serve your loads. So Jamie, can I share my screen? It's not letting me share my screen. Awesome. So I want to thank you guys for sending us your load information. Don't worry if you didn't have a chance to send us your loads, but we did get enough information from what you guys sent to us to kind of confirm that the load and planned load in Adelanto for cannabis is pretty substantial enough for us to want to move forward and explore possibility for us to potentially serve your load. So a little bit about our project. We're currently developing a 200 megawatt solar plus storage facility. You're gonna have to use your imagination here, but that red triangle there is our projected substation for the project. And we have about 1,300 acres in the desert there, just north of El Mirage Road around Koala there. And we're currently permitting that for our facility. The green line there that leaves that red triangle is our transmission line, or it's a planned transmission line. It'll be a 115 kV line that'll run south parallel to Raccoon Road there, and then east along Bartlett, and then south to connect to SCE's 115 kV substation there. So essentially that's our project. We're planning to begin construction in January of 2022, and we'll be online by December 2022 if all goes well with the project. But that's our schedule right now. Also in this drawing you can see so that blue line there that runs north-south along Raccoon Road, that's an existing Edison line. It's a 230 kV line. And then that red line that kind of goes through our project site and then south, that's a 500 kV line. That's LADWP's transmission line. Just kind of let you guys know what we're looking at. And then just east of the project, you can see is the land that's zoned for cannabis. And then south too in purple are the other areas that are zoned for cannabis. So I'm assuming that you guys are within these zones. So what we were thinking is we would have to build out additional infrastructure to connect you guys to our project. We wouldn't be able to use our 115 kV transmission line to connect to you guys. We'd have to build out additional smaller distribution lines, probably like 12.5 kV lines to connect you guys to our project, but you would need to connect directly to our project site near that substation. So location matters. I think going forward, we'd need to know like where you guys are located and how we could potentially connect you guys to our project. And internally, we were kind of thinking through how we would finance such a project. We were thinking the easiest thing for us to do would to do what's called a build transfer. So we build the project out and transfer it to you guys as the owner, and we'll operate it for you. But that we think is probably the easiest format for us. Not sure if that's of interest to you guys or not, to actually own the plant. Typically we do what's called power purchase agreements, where we sign contracts or long-term contract with a third party and sell power over, say, a 20-year term, for example. That's our typical structure, but we're having a hard time figuring out how we get a PPA or a power purchase agreement financed with the cannabis industry. So we were thinking a build transfer would be the easiest format if, I mean, given all the economics work out and it makes sense for you guys. So the benefits that we have to offer is that we are building out a large project. It's 200 megawatts. So we can get like much more affordable or cheaper equipment, cheaper panels, cheaper racking, cheaper batteries, when you're building a smaller system along with a larger project. So that we think we can offer a good price for the project or the energy compared to what you're paying. Very curious as to how you're currently supplying your loads, if you have diesel generators on site, gas generators on site. Can you guys provide a comment on what you're using right now for your energy resource, if it's gas or diesel generators for those that are in operations?
Hey, Tanya, quick comment. I've made it so that anyone who wants to comment, you are able to now unmute yourself. So feel free to comment that way as well if you'd like, or you can type it in the comment section.
Hey, Tanya, if I might just add to your presentation. This is Mike Ashley. I work with Tanya at S-Power. We think there's a really interesting, exciting opportunity to work with the cannabis community here in the Adelanto area. And there's obviously a lot of details to be sorted through regarding how the power is provided, where the interconnections take place with the power grid, if it would be done sort of through the existing infrastructure, if there would be new infrastructure developed specifically to interconnect and tie into URLs, industrial facilities, et cetera. But I think the takeaway is that we think it's a really interesting opportunity for us and for yourselves. And as we learn more about how you all do business, we think we can find solutions that are beneficial for both parties here. I think Tanya's question regarding how you all meet your current electric demand, is it through utility service? Is it through on-site generators, et cetera, helps us understand sort of how we need to approach the commercial structure and put a package together that makes sense for everyone. Anecdotally, I think we would definitely be competitive with on-site generation from diesel at the scale that we're developing our project in Adelanto.
All right, so I know I'm seeing a lot of really familiar names on our list here, and I'm just wondering if any of you have questions or input. Now's a great time to offer that, because we're here looking for a solution, and I think any input that you have that you could give this company, I think would benefit not only yourselves, it would benefit the industry as a whole, and then also the city of Adelanto. So please don't be shy. Feel free to share. All right, so maybe everyone's eating lunch. So what I'll do, Tanya, is maybe after this meeting, I could provide your contact information so that if anyone does have input, they can contact you directly. And then we will also provide a recording of this conversation on our website. So if you just forget what questions or what some of the concerns are, you can refer back.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering too if there are interests for us to potentially serve your load. I mean, I'm assuming there is because you all joined the call and participated in our initial survey. The next steps for us would be to send you another poll. We just need more information to kind of take this to the next step, to understand, one, where you're located, and we have a series of additional questions regarding your load. If we were to take this to the next step and actually put some numbers to paper and determine, what the power price would be or the project price would be. But I mean, we're really here to confirm that there really is interest in us moving forward with taking next steps on this. So yeah, Jamie, I don't know if you think the best format would be for you to just follow up with them, give them our poll, Yeah, okay, good. Well, good to hear that there really is interest. And I think the next steps, Jamie, is yeah, we send you the poll, Jamie, to circulate the next poll so we can start really assessing your loads, where you're at, and what we need to do to connect you guys to our project. And then we can go from there. We can come up with a cost estimate for our system and potential power rates.
Okay. I think that's a good plan. And we do have a couple of comments. I'm sure you're seeing them there. So yeah, someone says, yes, they have a new project and it'll be ready within a year's timeline, which would be great for the discussions to start happening now. And then of course, prices of concern. So what I'll do is after this, I will launch the other survey to gather more information, as Tanya stated, and then we'll also provide you with her direct contact information so that you can talk specifics and get more information for your particular situation.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. And I'd just like to add too, I mean, it's going to take time for us to build this out. Like I said, we'd have to build out additional distribution lines to connect you guys to our project site, and all that takes time. We'd have to get the permits or the easements for the lines. So the timing is now for us to start doing this, the sizing and some engineering and costing on all of this to meet your demands. So that's what we'd be designing it to do. So yeah. Yeah, so our timing would be to build this out alongside our 200 megawatt project. So it is online at the same time, end of year, December 2022. So I think we're at a good place right now to kind of get everything permitted, designed, and ready to be constructed alongside our project.
Angela Vargas, did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
Well, Angela's in here. It's her husband. The question I have is, like, I purchased a property off Raccoon, right next to Ranch Road, and it's a project that I got going right now with my architect. To get any type of power right now on the property, just anything. If we build out a project to the scale that we want it, but just to have it ready for when the power comes, just to have the building up there, would there be a problem even getting anything in there? Any type of power?
Where was that, did you say? You're breaking up a little bit.
Give me a second. Let me pull over. Okay. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We're working with our architect right now, and the dilemma that we're having is we're trying to figure out if we build a building to the scale that we're looking for, maybe in the ranges of 30,000 square feet. To get it, we're right off Raccoon, and we're south of Ranch Road, right across street from the power plant. For us to get any power there whatsoever until they bring more power to the area, would that be a problem? Do you know if that would be a problem as of now, or to get any power, like for lighting, no major power?
I mean, for us, I mean, we'd be serving your load. The goal would be for us to serve your load and to build that out. I mean, it would no longer be Edison serving you, but we would be directly as an independent power producer.
Okay.
So
you
what
guys are looking for 2022?
Yeah.
So
Yep. We connect you to our.
One of the solutions that Tanya is proposing here is that when we build our facility at the end of 22, we could build out sort of a microgrid of distribution power lines and probably some batteries that would effectively sort of act as a small electric grid to supply the 24/7 needs of some or all of your energy demand. That certainly has its advantages, certainly has some disadvantages too. I think we're still sort of trying to identify the ideal structure and how we would engage with you all. But based on some of the comments here, it seems like the biggest challenge for you all from the utilities are a lack of energy supply in a timely manner. So I think that, we would have to look at, assuming we can't accelerate the construction of our project past where it currently is, which is 22, end of 22, we would then just need to look at sort of if that timeline still makes sense, what engineering and commercial changes we need to make to be able to provide sort of microgrid power to the cannabis community in Adelanto, which would be a different process than if you all were going through the current utility, which I think is Southern California Edison.
And is anyone having issues not getting power, or is it just a timing thing with Edison?
Well, one of the things that we've had is that they just say that they can't get anything up there. I mean, we're within the area, but they don't have enough power. And we wanted to put a building up there, but we just wanted the basic power until more power comes in, just to light up the place and have it secure. But
Yep.
Even that's becoming a challenge to the point where it's kind of driving us to go somewhere else.
Right.
This is Mark Bozigan. I'm sorry I'm late. I work with S Power. Did they give you any timeline of when they could bring power?
No, right now, because of the COVID, to have communication whatsoever, is just that itself is becoming a challenge.
Okay.
By the time one response, weeks go by or a month goes by just for them to say they didn't understand on an email.
Yeah, Mark, can you talk a little bit about what the city of Lancaster is doing to serve their cannabis locals?
Certainly, and this is not to. I used to be the city manager of Lancaster. I don't work for them anymore, so this is not to, have you move or whatever. I'm just, talking about what's happening in Lancaster. Lancaster, like Adelanto, allows cannabis cultivation, manufacturing, everything but distribution. And they're running into the same problems in locations where Edison cannot serve in the desired amount of power and or can't give a timeline when they can. So Lancaster is, I have a couple of clients who are cannabis developers who are looking at microgrid solutions. Some are gas powered, the more affordable ones obviously are solar, to provide power, not dissimilar to what Adelanto is, or what you guys are talking about here. I don't want to call it an issue, but I guess one of the stumbling blocks is there's a certain cost to it, and how do you secure the investment? I think Mike talked about building it as they build out and then having a microgrid, but someone's going to have to sign a PPA or whatever. In Lancaster's case, I believe we're going to involve Lancaster Choice Energy as a middle person to do that. So that's one model. But for the developers on the line, would you be willing to sign a PPA or some collateralized instrument that would allow an S Power to go forward and build this out? Because it's similar to what Lancaster's doing.
Yeah, in the comments earlier, Mark, if the price is right.
No, absolutely. Obviously, there's a negotiation in terms of price and, shared risk and stuff. But from a business concept, it's essentially a developer signing a power purchase agreement and having terms acceptable to both S Power and the owner of the property, that would then allow for whatever term of the power purchase agreement, say 20 years, you'd know what you're paying for power and what you would be paying for each and every 20 years. And that's what's been very appealing to the Lancaster developers, is they can lock in their single biggest expense, which is power, and know what they're going to be doing over the next 20 years.
So the price of the power that they're generating, the price is fixed, is locked in as time changes, or it also increases with the increase of the demand?
That would be up to S-Power. In Lancaster's case, there would be an escalator involved. It's essentially you get a year one price certain, and then in one of the examples, there's an escalator that both sides agree on. But I don't know what S-Power would be comfortable with.
We would typically fix the price for you all at the start of the contract, whether it increased by 1% per year or stayed the same. You know, we were indifferent to that structure. I think to answer the other question that was baked in there is we don't have as much flexibility well, I shouldn't say we don't. It can be challenging to scale or increase the supply over time, depending upon the ultimate size of the site and the project itself. So we're contemplating constructing a specific amount of 200 megawatts of solar at the end of 22. And we would need to put plans in place to be able to scale that over time. I think that could be part of the discussion, certainly, that if understanding that you all have a view that your current load is X, your current demand is X, but it will grow with time. We can make some assumptions about our construction schedule, and we can ramp up deliveries to, increase deliveries of increased volume over periods of time. We just have to determine what the cost would be and make sure that that worked for everyone.
Well, I think he was concerned with the time of day charges, right? When Edison charges you more during peak demand, not necessarily having a larger load, but different rates for different.
Sure. Yeah. From a time of day standpoint, the pricing would be fixed. There wouldn't be any scalers for usage.
If a project kind of like the one that they're talking about in Lancaster comes where people, the developers and the property owners sign in and kind of guarantee that, would be using what we signed for, how many people, or what's the goal, the ending goal, if something like that was to happen here, to how many people would you guys be trying to get in order to make this move forward? Or is that even an option here in Adelanto, or is it something kind of different that they're doing
Well, we have to see what you get, what we get. So, I mean, we'll poll you guys to find out where you're located and what your loads are and the demands. So we'll have to figure out which loads make the most sense to serve from an economic perspective. So that's still to be determined. And how much you guys would be willing to pay. So, I mean, say if there's one small facility located remotely from our plant, we could connect you, but it'll probably cost you a little bit more versus being co-located with multiple facilities. It'll just be more cost effective if you guys are kind of co-located next to each other or as close to our project as possible. Minimize costs, infrastructure costs.
I see the map that's here. Unfortunately, like I'm driving, so I see it on my phone. I can't really see it that detailed. The property that we purchased is south, like Raccoon and like south of Ranch Road. We're kind of like right at the corner right there. Where would we be at from the designated area that you guys are proposing to put the plants?
A couple miles, you'd be right off of our transmission line. So one of the things that we could do is share infrastructure. So in our drawing, our transmission line runs north-south along Raccoon Road. So what we do is underbuild a second circuit that would serve your load. So if you're off of Raccoon, it would be easy for us to kind of drop off and connect you.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like we don't have a problem even building the buildings now, and just having them there, but we just, like I said, the problem that we're having, we can't even get something just to put lights up there just to secure them so they don't get vandalized. I mean, we don't have a problem building them and having them ready until the power comes in. It's just a challenge of getting something in there just to keep us lit while the power comes.
Wow.
So if you worked something out as an example with S Power and everyone agreed, and you knew that you were going to get power in 2022, that would be sufficient to move forward with construction and maybe some, temporary power solution until you get your permanent.
Oh yeah, I mean I mean, we're moving slow right now as far as like the hiring the soils engineer and getting everything marked on the property, because we know that there's really no hurry because there's no power, but would move. I mean, for me to put the building up there, that's my background is in development. So, and I'm also a owner of what we're doing there. So, for me to put a building up there, that's the easy part. I mean, I don't have a problem doing it. Um, as far as getting something in there, I just don't want to put something in there and then invest what we're going to invest, and then in 2022 comes and, oh well, it's going to be a couple more years or something happened, then that's money that we could have tied it somewhere else. But if we could get something in there, I mean, we can seek an alternative. I mean, if that was to have a delay on it, I mean, we can explore an alternative solution. Like I believe somebody on Muscat, they have all these generators right there. I mean, we're trying to stay away from that, but if we had the building and that's the option that we've had, I mean, we might as well not let the building go to waste. But we are, I mean, we would be inclined to start, building and getting, something as of now, having the structure there ready to get serviced as soon as you guys get in there.
Tanya, did you say that you are, or that someone is polling to find out what the load is, the estimated load?
Well, we have another questionnaire for the group for people that are interested. So it gathers information on location and load, more specific questions on the load.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So does anyone else have any questions or comments or items they'd like to discuss? All right, so I guess, Jamie, I'll send you that questionnaire to the group, and Jamie's going to circulate my contact information too, so you can reach out to me directly if you have any specific questions. But yeah, we're just looking forward to moving forward on this and understanding where you guys are at, where your loads are at, and come up with some real numbers and costs on this and pricing for you guys. Yeah, so Jamie, do you have anything else you want to cover?
Hi, this is Kathy. Jamie just sent me a text and said it appears that she got locked out. So, yeah, I don't think at this point there's anything else that we want to cover. But like she said, we can send out the recording of this and collect any information and data that anyone shares. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, this is Alex. So who would we have to start getting in contact with to start getting the project started right there?
So Jamie's going to send out a questionnaire soon, so we can start sizing and doing some preliminary engineering and costing on that. So, I mean, whoever follows up with Jamie and responds to our questionnaire, I mean, you're included in this, the assessment. I mean, we're planning on moving forward as long as you guys respond to the questions and give us additional information on your load. Yeah, but yeah, feel free to reach out to me directly too. I mean, Jamie's going to circulate my contact information.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, well, if there's nothing else, we just want to thank everybody for participating today and see if we can get this rolling and get some assistance out. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.